How do you filter stone cold crazy versus regular people?
They got a hitch in their giddy up. That means they're crazy.
They're crazy.
Stone cold crazy. Lock them up.
What are your thoughts on what's going on with Iran? It's becoming very contentious politically.
What President Trump is doing now should have been done 40 or 50 years ago. Iran's out of control, and I applaud President Trump. The traditional media says, oh, he doesn't have a plan, he doesn't have a plan. Well, just because he's not sharing the plan with you doesn't mean there's not a plan.
What do you say to guys who say, why do we have to be the police to the world?
The United States is the strongest country, so there is no reason in the world for us not to exercise command and control and to demand peace across the nation.
What's the argument for why she releases a guy that raped and killed a 5-year-old?
She has no rational argument. And if she would have remanded him to custody, that child would be alive today.
Why are they not choosing to model this?
The politicians don't care that your child is murdered. You can stop this. You could give me 2 years and bring that down 75%.
In 2 years, you dropped to 75%.
You don't have to lock everybody up. You just have to show them where the line is.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I
you.
don't think I've ever said this before.
All right, every once in a while we have guests in the house that I get to call them the man, the myth, the legend. You're obviously qualified for that, Judd Grady. And I don't know if you know this, last time we were on, when we spoke, one of the clips when you talked about that fellow you guys shot 68 times in a second and a half.
Yes.
That thing's at 29 million views
Really?
on YouTube alone. So if you're walking around places and people are stopping you, outside of Polk County, you're becoming a celebrity all over the place. But thank you for being back on a podcast again.
It's my honor to be with you. You know, since we were last on the podcast, I am now doing between 10 and 20 million views a week.
Stop it.
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
Yes.
I am not surprised. And I hope a lot of the other guys around the country who are in your space, who are sheriffs in different markets, I hope they're replicating your standards on how to make the city safe, on how to make their county safe. So 50 plus years of service. When you drive to Polk County, I think it says, welcome to the home of Judd Grady. I think it's right
Grady
on side
Judd.
of Grady Judd. Yeah, it's a great thing to have you on. So let me start off with the first story, because obviously I got a lot of things I want to go through with you. Of the war that's happened in Iran, I think one of the soldiers is from your county,
That's
if I'm not
correct.
making a mistake. His name is Cody Cork. I want to say it correctly if that's his name. Major Army Reserve General, one of the 13 fellows who passed away. Thank you for his service. May God take care of him and his family, and may he rest in peace. But for you, when he came in, how did the city, how do you process something like that happens for someone that's from your county?
Well, we were there. The President of the United States was there when he came back into the country, and I was there when he came back into the county. And I was there at the funeral, and it was an overwhelming response from everyone in the community. We had a procession from our airport in Lakeland to Winter Haven, which is an accompanying city, and you cannot believe the people that lined the miles and miles and miles of roads with flags. We have a patriotic community. We have a conservative community. We have a God-fearing community. And he was, as you know, promoted to major, and he was just a real guy. And he was extra special to me because my son is a manager for public supermarkets. And when Cody was a kid, or I should say Major Cork was a kid, he worked for my son.
Oh, why? So you've known him for many years.
I knew of him vicariously through my son. And he said he was just a great young man in high school, and when he worked for public supermarkets, he said, I enjoyed supervising him. He was a hard worker, and he said, but he was laser focused on the military.
He was. So from the beginning.
From the very beginning.
He knew he was going to get into the military and
Absolutely.
serve. Good for him. What is your opinion? You're an outsider, but you have opinions on pretty much everything. What are your thoughts on what's going on with Iran? It's becoming very contentious politically, both sides going wild, including in the Republican Party, the anti-interventionist, the isolationist, the interventionist. Where do you stand with it?
Well, first and foremost, what President Trump is doing now should have been done 40 or 50 years ago. Iran's out of control. They have not only kidnapped Americans, they've killed Americans. They're tormenting people in the Middle East. They're creating all kinds of problems for Israel. And I applaud President Trump. The traditional media says, oh, he doesn't have a plan, he doesn't have a plan. Well, just because he's not sharing the plan with you doesn't mean there's not a plan. I have the utmost trust in our military leaders, and I know they had an entrance strategy, they had a practice strategy, and they've got an exit strategy. My prayer is that we can get out of it without having to put boots on the ground. No one wants to do that, and I truly believe that that can happen. The whole goal was to stop them from having atomic weapons, nuclear weapons. So I applaud President Trump for doing what needed to be done decades before.
And why do you think guys, prior to him didn't do it?
Politics.
You think it's purely
It
politics?
was purely politics. They cared more about their personal politics than they cared about the safety and security of not only this country, not only Israel, but the Middle East. And quite frankly, Iran was there bullying everyone around.
What do you say to guys who say, Judd, Grady, respectfully, why are we getting involved in everyone's business? Just leave them alone. Why do we want to fight everybody's fight? Why do we have to be the police to the world?
Well, we wish it was just that simple, but this whole world is interconnected. And it's whether it's economics, whether it's oil. Think about this for a minute. What if we didn't have the ability to purchase oil or deal in the oil market worldwide? What if we got shut out? We have to be in control to be the very best. The United States is the strongest country. We're up against an economic potential powerhouse with China. So there is no reason in the world for us not to exercise command and control and to demand peace across the nation. Look, it's the future. It's the future of our children and our grandchildren. Now, the critics of President Trump now, I believe, will be silenced by the future whenever they say, well, because the president did this back in 2025, 2026, we don't have a problem that we otherwise would have had. Can you imagine Iran and that regime with a nuclear weapon that could potentially reach the United States and certainly could reach all of the countries in the Middle East? And